Good evening. I am calling to order the Neighborhood Improvement Commission meeting. Jennifer, can we do roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Alexander,
Present.
Commissioner LaBouffe, Commissioner Costella,
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Commissioner Oleta Reed, Vice Chair Meyer,
Here.
and Chair Riordan. We have a quorum.
Thank you. So has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add? Okay. Can we go on to public comment?
And then you.
Members of the public wishing to address the commission on matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Seaside, but not on this agenda, may do so during the public comment period for up to 3 minutes. Comments on specific agenda items are heard under that item. For the public record, please state your name.
I don't have anyone online.
Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from January 7th, 2025?
Chair,
Yes?
order, just make sure that you close public.
Oh, thank you. Public comment is closed. And we will go on to approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from January 7th, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January.
I'll second.
Very good, thank you.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oppose?
And then minutes are approved.
Minutes are approved. Thank you, Joan.
See, now I know how to do it. No.
Yes.
No.
Even though I watch you do it all the time. Okay, we're moving on to number 6, business. 6A, set dates for dumpster spring cleanup. Does anybody have, let's open it up for discussion. Does anybody have any suggestions? Go ahead, Dennis.
Chair, I was thinking, well, if we're looking at spring, correct?
Yeah.
And spring is what, March 21st, so sometime after March 21st. My only, for me, my own personal date is the 22nd. I've got prior commitments, but other than that, every Saturday, it looks like right now through the spring is good.
So Easter is on the 20th. Thank you, Dennis. Easter is on the 20th, and I think we typically have been doing it in April, right?
Correct. Right. Right.
So, okay, so the 27th would be the weekend after Easter.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so we could either do the Saturdays in April are the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th. The 19th, of course, is Easter weekend, so it's probably not a good weekend. So I'm thinking maybe the 26th.
I like that.
Good for everybody. How about you, Ramona?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll move to approve 26 April for our spring cleanup for this year.
Chair,
Oops. Public comment.
Oh, I'm opening that up to public comment.
We don't have anybody online.
Public comment is closed. So we had a motion and we had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, 26 April for dumpster cleanup is set. Should we just do the spring cleanup? I guess so. Okay,
Last year we did both of them
okay.
at once. We could, or just add it on the, as an agenda item next time.
because it said for the
Spring, we have to.
We'll just-
kind of stuck to this one and we'll just bring it back as another item.
Very good.
I mean, do the other one in fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually in either late September or October.
And at this point, we need to contact Green Waste, and I can do that if need be.
I love it. I
Okay,
really appreciate that. Thank you.
and we'll see how many dumpsters. How many did we have last year? We had 4.
4, was it 4 or 5? 4?
Yep.
And through the chair, do we, or I don't know if we want to open for discussions, this is only talking about the date, but same
Location?
locations?
We don't have to decide, I mean, that's not on the agenda, but
Yeah, so let's talk about putting it on the agenda for March, the month before, and that way we'll be ready to go for April.
and I will just preview them. We don't have the locations yet, but just telling them the date. That's all we need to do.
And at that time, we can also set the locations.
Yes, I mean, I do have a question, maybe not a good time,
So when we look at the dates coming up, right? So we have tonight's meeting, we have the retreat on Saturday, and then your March meeting is next Tuesday. So then just kind of keep that in mind when you start thinking about the agenda items, if you know, where we're going to be for the Tuesday meeting, and then we can then come back, I think April. So I think it might be April 1st. Yeah.
So what are you thinking, Dan? Are you thinking that maybe we should talk about it on April 1st? Because that'll still give us 4 weeks,
I just wanted to make sure that the commission was aware of like
the tight line.
the timeline with our meetings, our upcoming meetings, right? You know, we have 3 in the matter of 7 days, and then we're not going to have another one for another 30 days. So this could be something that could be talked about at the retreat. It could be something that could be talked about at the next meeting. So just kind of think about that when I think we have the item for the retreat on the next topic. I just wanted to make sure the commission was aware.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Through the chair, and may I just ask that we put this item earlier than because it's always taken, there's always been some discussion as to where to put them, it seems. So if we could have it as Dan said, maybe one of the next 2 meetings within the week of what the locations.
I agree. So, do we need to vote on that, or can we just make that so do you guys, for discussion, would you rather discuss it at the retreat or at the meeting?
well, when we get to the item on the retreat, the commission can decide to make that. If not, then the chair can tell me that like, hey, the meeting next week, I want this item on. So-
Got it.
So what maybe vice chair, you can go and you can talk to the chair and say, hey, we discussed this, I think this should be on the agenda for.
Good. Okay, moving on to 6B, discuss agenda items for the March 1st, 2025 Neighborhood Improvement Commission retreat. Open discussion?
My question is if we received any email submissions from other commissions. So that's kind of the first step.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've received 1 document from FOSPA. The Parks and Rec Commission, they had a meeting two meetings ago. So in January, they had a meeting. They came up with some preliminary items. We were supposed to come back and finalize that at our meeting yesterday, but our meeting didn't happen. So we do have a couple preliminary items. I think that the chair is still going to send me some information. I did get a really long list from a member of another commission, but she was acting as a private citizen and not as a member of the commission. However, I think she's got a lot of great ideas. So I'm going to submit that to the commission to take a look at, because there might be something that comes off there that you all might like. And I do believe Art and History Commission will be sending something by the deadline. I did reach out today in one of my meetings to everyone that was a liaison, and I let them know, hey, the deadline's coming up this week. I've sent multiple emails, but like if your commission needs something, to make sure that you submit it to me as soon as possible. So we have some. I don't think as a lot as what we were expecting, and we've been pretty communicative. Everyone's aware of it. So, and I think the Homeless Commission will be. Oh, actually, I did get something from the Homeless Commission too.
Okay, so you said FOSPA, you said a private citizen, and you homeless.
And Parks and Rec will have something, and then
Parks.
and Art and History hasn't come with anything, but they will be submitting something.
They will be.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sustainable Seaside.
I have not heard from Sustainable Seaside.
She's got it ready though.
Okay.
I talked to her last night.
oh, so we should have a pretty good turnout then. Are they actually gonna come or are they just submitting for the first?
I'm not exactly sure. I think some of them are probably just submitting and I can do my best to decipher what they submitted. Jennifer and I are going to work together to kind of put together a packet of all the submissions to make sure so then the commission can have them ahead of time so you can take a look.
But they were invited, right?
Yeah,
That-
I mean, it is,
that- It
It's
was
an
open to them.
yeah, they know that when the meeting is, if they want to come, you know, I will say, you know, Saturday in March is starting to be nice outside and I don't know, people have things to do.
Sure, sure.
Yep. We're so sorry.
Okay, so let's see. The discussion, was about whether or not we had things, people were gonna be there, so it looks like they are. And the time, just remind me again, what did we say that time was 8 to noon, right?
Not-
8 to noon,
No. 8:30, I think.
8:30?
I thought it was 8 to noon.
I thought, let
Yeah,
me just check right now.
if you want to end at 11, I would be totally fine.
Okay,
8 to 11.
yeah, I have 8 to noonish at Oldermeyer. Well, we can decide right now, right?
Well, yeah, and point of clarification too, is because I don't know, there was talk about the homeless commission coming at noon. But I have not gotten confirmation from them or anything.
Well, I believe that when we talked about it before, we had said that it was the homeless commission that wanted to have like a little meet and greet. But we decided at the January meeting, if I recall, that why do we need to do that? They already know who we are. They could come to our meetings. We could go to their meetings. We don't really need to have that. This is kind of a work session. They can come to it if they want. But, you know, staying beyond noon, because our work was gonna be from 8 to 12, and then there's the meet and greet with them was gonna be from 12 to 1.
Yeah.
It just, so let's just let's just have them come to the meeting like we had talked about before. And then if we finish earlier, then we get done. We'll just say the quitting time, the meeting time will be from 8 to 11 or 12, depending on how much we get done.
And I did ask when they submitted the liaison submitted the information. I asked them and he didn't have an answer on whether or not they were planning on attending. So liaison just passed off the information to me.
Okay. So, I don't think there's anything to vote on. We've got everything situated. Do I need to open it up to public comment?
We do, yes. The one thing too is the way right now we were going to set up the flow of the agenda would basically be a study session for the NIC work plan. Or the 25-26 NIC work plan. Really, it would just be whether or not the commission wants to add anything else to the agenda to talk about during the retreat. Is it just the work plan? Is there any other items you want to talk about that any other business that we could potentially, knock out while we're there? Just putting that out there too, right? It doesn't have to be the one thing.
Right, so we can add the discussion about the dumpsters if we want.
And then it's done, we can arrange for them to be there in time for it to not be a rush on greenways.
So I was gonna ask, since it sounds like we have quite a few things to talk about on Saturday already, maybe do you want to wait until
The meeting,
the next Tuesday to talk about the dumpster
it would only
locations?
be 3 days.
It doesn't matter that much, but if we have time, it would be great. But it's, we're all there together.
So if we put it on the agenda, are we bound to discuss it? Or if we put it on the agenda and we find that we don't have time because the discussion of the work plan takes up the full, allotted time, can we then move it over to the meeting, the March meeting?
Yes, the Parks and Rec Commission, we have tabled items before. From time to time, it does happen. The one thing you just really need to keep in mind is whether or not you have members of the public that may show up specifically for that item. So that would be something that would need just to be, taken into account if that is the case.
Well, in the past, we haven't had anybody. Now, I know that that can't necessarily be a gauge because people could just decide all of a sudden they're gonna show up. But I think if everybody's okay with it, I think I would like to put it on the agenda if we have time. But if we don't, then table it for the meeting because I think it's best, like Joan says, just tackle it right away, get it done and over with. But if we don't have time, I agree with Dennis, we go ahead and just put it on the meeting and get it taken care of. I don't want to waste I don't want to delay it past March's meeting.
Sounds good.
Right, do we need to vote on that then? Or does anybody else have anything else that they would want to put on the agenda for that meeting?
No.
No, for the retreat on Saturday. Hi, Shannon.
So is it gonna be our work plan as well as the suggestions from all these committees?
Yes.
Commissions?
That's the
So it's
intent,
two things then, right?
right? It would be listening to those, vetting those, deciding on those, what's gonna go forward. I'm assuming, we're gonna listen to them and then we're gonna decide what's gonna go forward.
So there may not be any presentations. There may be, you get just a list. There might be a packet of, okay, here's the Parks and Rec Commission submissions, here's the Homeless Commission submissions, and then the commission can go through them one by one. And I can try and, provide as much context as I can. But from there, really, it's, if they don't come to show, if they don't show up to present, you're gonna have to make an informed decision based on the information that was provided. One other thing that I want some clarification from this commission about is, we talk about the work plan and normally, like for the Parks and Rec Commission, we have a pretty detailed document that like highlights like, okay, hey, we're going to try and do this. We're going to try and do that. A, B, and C all the way down, like here's with timelines and things like that. But from my understanding is just joining this commission, the NIC's really work plan is identifying potential recommendations for the funding. Yeah.
When they happen, and then what we hope to.
Is there a document that lived on? Like an actual work plan document, like,
Last year I just wrote it.
okay,
Yeah, get your mic. Oh, I'm so sorry. It is online. Past ones, I found them online.
Okay.
And used that.
So- okay, so there's that template there. So what I think I saw Adolfo present last time, it was just a spreadsheet with like with all the project list.
That's right.
It wasn't anything else like, we are going to, we want to conduct multiple community meetings and this and that. Like it didn't have other potential work plan items. It was all funding requests.
We had everything on there and we had our wish list. I think they were listed by priority. And then, it was on, and then we were submitting it to the city council for approval. And I think when you said about the plan, I think that we discussed that. I vaguely seem to remember that we had discussed that they wouldn't do presentations, that we would look at their, what they were recommending, and we would discuss it amongst ourselves. And if we thought it had value, then we would ask them to come back and present.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's what we had discussed, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think that was the purpose of the retreat, is for them to get their things in, their projects, their ideas, and then we would look at them, vet them, and decide whether or not, and then invite them to come back and give us a presentation. Thank you.
Really just taking a deep dive into everything that was recommended.
Yeah, so hopefully that they'll be detailed.
And I'm assuming then the commission, each one of you is going to have your own set of ideas as well.
Well, I have some ideas for sure.
Okay.
I don't have costs, and we had talked about before, right? But
Yeah, the cost will come later.
yeah. So, I mean, I have
All of
some
my ideas were shot down. I'm a little
I
hesitant.
still have my
Sorry.
ideas. I'm gonna retry again.
That's right. Try again.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got all my direction. Thank you.
Okay, so nobody else had anything else that they wanted to add? We're good for Saturday. And does
Otherwise,
everybody
they're all there.
plan to attend? What about you, Ramona?
What?
Are you planning on attending on
Of course.
Saturday?
Where is it?
Oldemire. The same place we had, but I wonder if we're gonna be in the same room as we were. Which is the first, when
I
you,
don't know what room I left. It might be the Black Horse room, it might be,
We'll just.
it's in Oklahoma.
Just
I'll,
I'll find you.
Get the
I'll,
Seahorse room,
when we.
the
I'll
one by
make
the
sure it's on
office.
agenda, I'll double check.
the one by
And
your,
is-
the office.
I don't think I did the Seahorse room because it depended, I didn't know how many people would show up.
That's true.
and we can have food in there, right?
Absolutely.
And
Oh.
just somebody the line food, you betcha. This time of year.
That's right. I mean, just checking. Okay. All right, so there was nothing to vote on.
So that open up.
Okay, can we have a public, I'm opening it to public comment.
We don't have anybody online.
Okay, public comment is closed. Moving on to number C, discussion regarding filling vacant seats on the commission. So we're supposed to have, I think, 9, and we have
Seven or nine?
Seven.
Seven.
We have
6.
one vacancy,
We have 1 vacancy, okay. Do we have anybody that's applied?
not to my knowledge, I know they just filled some appointments for a couple of the other commissions, but nobody for this one. I know with art history. EPC jobs.
Has there been any, how have they advertised? Because I remember when I applied, it was in the weekly. And it was one of the little toolbox. It was on the toolbox.
Probably hasn't been advertised in a while, we can look at that, I don't know. What the city clerk is doing for her advertising, I know like for Parks and Rec. We would have applications and the Parks and Rec would table at, events and things like that, and whoever was tabling would have applications there and the table. Say a little bit about the commission, and then now that anyone wanting to apply, they can fill it out right down in one spot and then it's. Other than that, I mean, we potentially, maybe it could be, we got more for the city clerk, maybe we can put it on our city news and things like that in the newsletter where it's saying, hey, we have vacancies, we need to look at how we can fill some of these positions.
Yeah, because I remember on the toolbox, it wasn't specific to any one commission. And I remember when I interviewed with the mayor and the mayor pro tem, Mayor Oglesby and Mr. Pacheco, they asked me which commission I would want to work on. And I had, of course, my preference, but I didn't get that. But Nick was my second, and I was very happy to find my home and roost at Nick. But that's how it worked out for me. So I was just wondering if it's still being, operating in the same type vein. I mean, obviously you said you don't know how they advertise, but are these other people that recently they were hired, are there any overflow that maybe might consider coming on the Nick?
I think what they're trying to do now is that they're trying to get the other commissions whole, because, right, this one's been pretty stable. Right?
Yes.
You're down one commissioner. And art history was down to 2. I think they're at 4 now, homeless commission was down to 2 or 3, so they're trying to, uplift those ones.
Sure.
Parks and Rec, we are down, we're kind of like with this one where we have 6. So while we have some space for one, right, I think the focus has been on the other commission. However, I know that the mayor wants to make sure that we get all the commission, fully staffed or, full boards here. And then they are, updating, because there are some, you brought up the 9 seats, right, and I think some commissions do have that, but I don't know if you caught at the last city council meeting, there were some changes for Title II in the ordinance, which outlines all the commissions, and they're streamlining everything and trying to make all the commissions have the same numbers.
Oh.
Like they're going 7 across. Or they're picking between 5 or 7.
I like that.
So that way it's easier for some of those commissions that, because I think one of them, I mean, maybe community safety advisory has 11. They haven't been able to really have a quorum because they have so many people and they can't fill it. And in the way the ordinance reads it, it reads that it's not by how many people are appointed, but how many seats there are. So if you have an 11 commission, you need to have 6 people or no, 7 people to have quorum, and they don't even have that many people on the commission.
Mm.
So they're trying to like streamline it and fix all that stuff, so.
I think that's great. I know that that was one of the things I asked to those during the campaign, who was, those that were running, what they were gonna do with the commissions and what they were gonna continue with the commissions. And they all agreed that they were gonna keep, the commissions were important and integral to the city, so I'm glad to hear that. Yes,
Sorry, I'm sorry. Mr. Rivas, can we ask the council at the next council meeting, at their reports at the end, if they could just mention that might be a way to get the word out there as well. That we're looking for commissioners from all the,
It
for all
was
the
in the
commissions.
last week's, it was in the city council when they had the weekly updates in the, in the city news, they had that in the city news on Thursday.
I saw that they had their employment advertisement, but I didn't see the one about for the commissions.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's online too. I mean,
No, but what you're saying, for Alexander, is a valid point. I'll see what we can do. And, I'm sure 1 or 2 of them may.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
And may I suggest that we attend the next, I can't remember what's coming up next, but the next time we can get a table and we can have all the commissions, the applications for
You
them.
mean the night out
Oh, I
in
can't
August?
remember what's coming
birthday
up.
party.
Oh,
Isn't
the
it
There's
birthday
something
party?
before that.
The next one coming
There's
up,
4th of July, right?
we'll have with the flag,
Yeah.
and maybe when, Sustainable Seaside has their Earth Day celebration.
That's it.
Which is the day after the day you just picked
Yeah.
for your dumpster day, which
Yeah.
actually
That's perfect.
fits in nicely.
It does because people love that day.
And, Earth Day and where you're.
Yeah.
Helping the environment, so that's not a city event, but I know they're always looking for, and maybe that's a good way to, get some
We could,
people who care about the community.
we could put up a sign-up sheet for people that are interested. And we could get their name and number, and then we can turn it over to, Dominique or Jennifer, whomever it is that will follow up with them. Yeah, so do we need to put that on an agenda about attending and having a schedule to attend?
So we've done it like. We put it on an agenda for Parks and Rec to have, get buy-in to table at events, but generally, normally our chair would be like, hey, I'll table, right, or if somebody's willing to table, you have the stuff needed. Make it happen.
When you say table, that means sit at the table and entertain questions from the public. Okay, and will we have a table? I mean, how will that work? Because
I mean, depending on the event, so like if it's a city event, we have a form that you fill out and say, hey, the NIC wants a table at 4th of July. Fill out the form, you're to go, you're in, we'll provide you a table and a spot.
okay. I think that's a great idea, and it sounds like at least some of our commissioners are interested in that, Joan. So Joan, would you want to take the bull by the horns and you will be at the table?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, no, and once under we're talking about Earth Day, I know Catherine just submitted her application, so they'll be working on all that stuff.
I can sure,
We'll keep it in mind for the next.
for sure. I would like to be there. I don't know that I can be there the whole time, but. So,
When's the birthday?
Earth Day is on April 27th.
and is that the first thing coming up?
I mean, we have,
Birthday.
the rec department, we have the Easter egg hunt, that's like a real kind of big, community event. I think we're gonna get a wide range of people. The 4th of July is always, it's gonna be a really good one.
It is? No. I didn't know. 4th of July is gonna be a big event.
It's always a big event. We close Canyon Del Rey down, we have a great time. Music, free hot dogs.
Oh, I always go to Monterey's.
You know what, everyone comes from Monterey to ours because we have all the activity kids.
And they
That's
get so
true.
crowded, they don't know where to go. I know it happened a lot last year.
That's true.
And ours is right here, right?
We close down Canyon Del Rey and we do both.
Wow.
We even played pickleball on Canyon Del Rey last year.
How fun. Are you guys gonna do the same thing again?
We're getting up there to see what else we can add.
Awesome. That sounds like great.
So
I-
that's gonna be April 19th?
No,
April
that's-
27th.
we're talking about 4th of July, not the.
Oh, the 4th of July.
The Earth Day's on the 27th,
But the Easter egg hunt, that's on
the 19th.
19th, okay.
And that's at Oldemire.
Right.
So, you could always, you can table there too, but really, that's not.
I don't know. I don't think that that is really the most appropriate venue. I think that the Earth Day would be a good
Right.
venue. And I don't even know about 4th of July. That seems hard to take people away to sit at a table when we're enjoying our country's 249th.
Well, but it's a day of patriotism, if you want, community, and maybe they could look at this as, hey, this is a way for me to be a good citizen. That's how,
I never thought about
I'll
that,
sit
but
there.
you'll sit there? Okay, well, we'll think about
The
it.
good thing is that's in July.
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Exactly.
Yeah, but for the April, so just so I'm gonna write it down, Joan, you're gonna follow up with Sustainable Seaside to get a table, right?
So, yeah.
And I believe, do we have a tablecloth or anything that says Nick? Do we have anything like a plastic banner or anything like that?
Sure.
We used to. I don't know where it
So
is.
I go,
Jackie,
Yeah, yes.
but I don't even know if Jackie knows where it is, cause I think we asked her last year,
we call it the Jackie.
Jennifer.
There's any tables
poor
flag.
Jennifer. You'd be going through closets.
That would be so cool, Joan.
I think Mr. Little took
It
it
would
with
be
us.
so cool.
She said she might quilt one.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be so cool? Original. I think it would be really cool.
As long as the city buys her stuff, she'll do it. And she'll donate it.
And then whoever's there, hopefully we all wear our name tags.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I have a question with regard to that. What is the city's take on us getting T-shirts or shirts or jackets matching? That says Neighborhood Improvement Commission and has the Seaside logo.
What do you mean everybody else?
I have one.
I see other.
So. I know at one point, when my predecessor Nancy was here. She had a stockpile of jackets, and that was one of the things that she got the Parks and Rec Commission. But I think there was some extra ones left around that she made for other commissions potentially, and maybe that's how you got one around. Or do you?
I got it from Mark. Do you remember Mark? He
Yeah,
was the liaison at one time.
yeah, oh, Marvin Lane? That was a long time ago. That was like right when I started.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, he gave it to all of us.
So, the short answer is, yes. We can do it. We would just need to, stay within the budget. Like, we probably have like $3,500 in the consumable budget, I don't know. What that, look at it, but
So does that mean we need to go out and find somebody to do that, or you will do that and then you'll ask us for our sizes and?
I think I can do it like I did, but. So like, we. Just get something and we'll just say, it's inside neighborhood improvement mission.
So is it preferable to have a jacket or do you want a shirt?
Hold on, before we get there, this isn't on the agenda, so we can't talk about it.
Okay,
We're
well,
getting
let's-
off
So if
track.
you wanna agendize it, then we can do that, and then we can move forward. with that.
okay. That's great. Let's agendize it for, the March meeting. Well, wait, we already have quite a bit going on because we have House of
I'll
the
talk
Month.
with Ray and I'll let him know, and we'll see.
Okay, that sounds great. That sounds great. All right. So I think we are. So that was the discussion. So let me just circle back to the discussion. For the discussion on the regarding the filling of vacant seats, just so I'm clear, you're gonna check with Dominique on how they're advertising. And then you're gonna come back and report to us on that and then we are as a commission are gonna have a sign-up sheet on the 27th or the 27th Earth Day at our table, and we'll get perspectives that way as well. Does that sound good? Do we need to vote on that, sir? Okay. Okay, good. Just write that down. Oh, thank you, John. Do we have, I'm gonna open it up for public comment.
We don't have anybody online.
Public comment closed. Move on to D. Area assignment review for House of the Month. I'm not sure. How did that get on there?
Guy that was, to me.
Okay. So let me just look, because I thought we had, this is what Joan put out right here. Okay, so,
Talk about that at the meeting.
we did. So let me, since we have it on our agenda, do you want me to just go over this on the record?
That's gonna be one. He just wanted to make sure everyone knew.
Okay, all right, so let me just go over this. So Ramona, you have April and May, months April and May, and that would be Ord Grove and Ord Terrace,
Got it.
okay? I have February and March, which I will be presenting at the March meeting. And I have Hannon and Del Monte Heights.
You say you presented the March meeting and the March City Council meeting?
No. I will be presenting my choices at the March meeting. And then we will vote on that for February and March. So it'll be both those areas, because Hannon is either February and Del Monte Heights is March or vice versa. But we'll be doing both areas at the March meeting. And then once we've decided, then we will give that to you and you can give that, decide when city council can make that official. And then, of course, let us know and
Yeah.
I'll be there. Or whoever the commissioner is that had that area.
We do that one and we talk about, that'll be agenda item in March. Chances are we'll probably be at the.
You mean an April city council meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Likely.
Probably the first meeting.
And then Ray has Olympia, a neighborhood Olympia and Terrace, and that would be June and July. Dennis has August and September, and his neighborhoods are Noche Buena and Highland. Joan has, and Shanda have October and November. So have you guys determined which months you have? Joan, do you have Roosh? And Shanda has Kimball? And then Joan, you have October and Shanda has November? All right,
What about, Sharon, what about Cabrillo and Laguna Grande? Area, neighborhood.
very good point. I don't know who has that. How about since that intersects with Roosh,
Roush.
Roush, do you want to take that, Joan?
Yeah. Doesn't really. It doesn't really, it's down, it's,
Well,
What about in the-
it's right across, or,
Walgreens. there.
Roush is over by Kimball.
Yeah, so, sorry, maybe.
I mean, there's Terrace right here.
That's right. It's this area right here.
So did you have a suggestion, Ramona?
No,
Oh,
I mean, there's 3 open neighborhoods, so.
well, where are the three? Cabrillo, Laguna, and Laguna Grande, is that
Kimball,
two?
Roush, and Cabrillo, Laguna Grande. It's 3 neighborhoods that are untouched right now.
And that's because we're short one person, right?
Well.
Because
Joan doesn't
everybody
have
is
anything,
assigned.
Shanda doesn't have anything. Well, there's.
Shanda has Kimball.
Shanda has Kimball. Well, you could.
So it's either Shanda takes Kimball and Roosh, and then Joan takes Roush, thank you, right here down at the bottom. It's off Noche Buena.
Roush is off Kimball.
Well, it's that area dissects, I mean, it's Fremont to Noche Buena and Kimball. I think that's Kimball right there.
It's in between Hildy and Kimball. The bottom.
It makes more sense for one person than these two. I can do that. I can do that. I'll do that.
So you'll do Rouch,
And.
okay, okay, so I'm gonna change that. Let's let the record reflect, and then, Shanda, how are we gonna do that on months? Because we only had 2 months left, so
I'll do November.
and that means 2 neighborhoods for November?
I'll have to go through and then, yeah, my understanding was that we were just gonna do one house.
Yeah.
In those 2 neighborhoods,
Those 2 neighborhoods.
not one a month.
Yeah,
We were doing them every other.
right.
Okay.
It'd be too
Okay,
much
so
for
we
staff.
were trying to tone it down.
Okay, so you're saying
Would do.
one house in this whole, in both of
Yeah.
these, gotcha, gotcha.
So. So Joan's doing this in October and you would do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Now that backs us up a little, we can do both of those in November. So that we're not doing one every month.
Right, that was the whole thing.
Right.
It was too much for staff. Yeah.
Because of staff overload and because of, you really wanted to do it every month. Okay, so.
But you're covering all the neighborhoods at the same time.
okay, so let me just make sure I understand that. So even though we will be presenting we're voting on our House of the Month for October and November, we will only be presenting to the city council quarterly. Right? So
Not quarterly.
every other month, so we'll get mine in and. Well, maybe we should be doing mine and Ramona's
Well, yeah,
Oh, you want to do it quarterly?
in June.
we can do both of those in April. No one in April, May. June.
In May, okay, I have Ord Grove and Ord Terrace neighborhoods. And I have it for the month of April and May. So at the end of May, or in
Yes.
May 1st, whenever my first time here, our first time, I'll say. I picked 652 Ord Grove Street for my neighbor, for that.
In May, so yours will be
Right,
in March, but it'll
but-
just be a little late.
But we said we were gonna do ours quarterly, and that was why we're not voting on mine till March. We said we were gonna do it
We're
quarterly,
gonna do it quarterly?
right, we said
Yeah.
we were gonna do it quarterly. And so quarterly, the next quarter would be the end of July. Right?
Should we go on?
March, the end of March or March,
June, then in June.
the end of June,
So
Before
it's
it
good.
ends in June.
so
Will
that,
coincide with the business of the quarter then. So every time we'll pick business of the quarter as well as a house of month for the quarter.
right, that's what we were supposed to be doing, is business at the quarter at the same time. And I believe I had the first one, so we have to decide that in March, the business and the 2 months, the two neighborhoods, the one house and the two neighborhoods. And then I guess the next quarter, we'll do Ramona's, one house.
So I'll report that at the end of June.
We'll decide on it in May,
May.
because the quarter will be in June.
It's not working because then there's no time for the other.
Yeah.
It really needs to be every other month, or we try to skip certain neighborhoods. Quarterly doesn't work, but that wasn't how. So I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm not sure how to.
Look, if the expectation is that you wanna do a house of the month every month. We can do that. I don't know, I don't think.
No, because we said it was too much. It was too much for us and we just couldn't make it happen. So we thought if we sloughed it off to a certain time, we had more time to get to it. And that's why we had talked about quarterly. But now that we're talking about it again, about the part with presenting it to city council, the quarterly isn't working.
Well, the quarter, we have 6 people and
That's why.
12 neighborhoods.
We
13
can change the neighborhood structure, maybe.
So, this shouldn't be so difficult. If we're, there, a presentation to the city council at the end of February, at the end of April, at the end of June, just at the end of, for those 2 months prior to that. I mean, really, that's, and then the business of the quarter, just at the end of the quarter, so really.
Okay, so,
Can I ask a question? So in regards to house of the month, so you gotta get a plaque made,
Yes,
and then you have to get a gift card.
yeah.
you have to ask the homeowner, yeah.
What gift
And
card?
see when the homeowner can be present to receive. Because they usually receive it here at,
No, if I recall, a lot, I would say 50-50, like, they don't show up.
yes, that's true.
So then, is it up to the commission then to get the plaque? Or is that staff? to get staff?
No, we never have done it, yeah.
That, to answer that question has always been staff.
As well as the gift card. That's why it was just too much. We wanted to lessen the work on the staff, because Jennifer would be doing it all.
Right.
And we also need staff to check the parameters of which parameters are we checking for to make sure that there's not something bad going on in the house or that it, I don't know what.
No
code
violations.
Or
I think.
worse or whatever.
Yeah,
So we had a quick check from staff.
So I don't know. So say that again, Dennis. So January, February.
Well,
March,
you know,
end of
we're doing,
March.
the way we have it, the way it looks like is that each commissioner has 2 months and maybe either 1 or 2 neighborhoods within that. But within those 2 neighborhoods, we're only picking 1 house which represents those 2 months. So we, you know, going forth, because it's going to be kind of difficult now that we're at the end of February, but going forth, we'll have a presentation at the end of April that covers March and April, another one at the end of June that covers May and June, and so on.
I mean, February, it's February and March. February and March, I have February and March.
Yeah, but yeah.
Ramona has April and May. We don't do one in January and we don't do one in December.
Well, it's gonna be, some commissioners are not going to be able to participate.
And if I remember correctly. A few meetings ago, we discussed the quarters, I think. And then 2 commissioners got pushed to the next year, and they were gonna start.
That's correct.
So we had 4 commissioners that were doing it this year, and then the 2 that didn't do it, were gonna do it next year.
There you go. That's it. That's the key right there. We can't cram all of us in one year.
Okay.
So based on this year, then. Tiffany's first quarter.
Yeah.
Ramona's second quarter.
Ray's
Yeah.
third.
Ray. Third quarter, and then Dennis would be fourth quarter. Cause it's a little, because you have it mixed up by 2 months instead of, but I guess in reality, when it comes down to it, the fourth quarter. Cause you don't do it in December and January, but it doesn't really matter. but
Yeah.
You only got a couple of months. You wait here, you have it listed by months instead of quarters.
Right. That's exactly right.
So we need to have it as, we need to have discussion about that because we need to assign those months. We can keep it by months, but we need to assign those to the different quarters, so we have it.
And we also then have to break up, since we don't do one in December and January, now we have to we now have to do 10 months into quarters. So it's gonna be 2.5 months, which represents a quarter.
Well, we can still do it in
We can still-
October.
Yeah.
I mean,
present it.
that is the third quarter. We,
Or we could just ignore it.
right,
So you would present it.
exactly.
Have to be a little early.
Mm.
Would that work?
Right, but then what I'm saying is that the month itself. A quarter is going to represent part of 1 month and the other person, so a quarter is going to be 2.5 months rather than 3 months.
Right. And then it sounds,
This way, you think of it as quarter one is only 2 months. Quarter four is only 2 months. So whoever gets those quarters, you're only working, you're only going around that.
right, and then it sounds like to me that whoever has October and November, the houses for those, will have to do those in first quarter, so they'll be doing them at the same time as me. We'll be doing 2 houses.
You'll be put off next year.
You'll be put off to January,
Yeah.
We'll have to redo it.
Only four.
right, and then
commissions.
mine will be in March. But that's what I'm saying is,
No.
will that be at the beginning of the quarter, or they will be at the end of the quarter?
I would
No.
still do it,
Or will they do it in
I would
March?
still present it in December. So just because you should still
That's
present it
true.
in December, you're doing it this is.
Yeah, big deal, yeah.
Meaning,
that's
we're
true.
presenting it to whom? At our meeting? Because we don't ever have a meeting in December.
No, the city council.
So we decided, have it all done in November. The city.
So both you, Shanda, and Dennis would all be doing yours in,
Then it's in November
and when would you be doing yours?
next.
Okay,
So if let me just try to take a stab.
okay.
I'm doing it too, so.
Yeah, but it did.
Tiffany presents in March, right? Okay. Then Ramona would then present. And then Ray would present in September. Dennis would present in December.
Yeah.
And then
December or November?
November.
Gonna present,
Present at the council.
I'm talking like council meetings, right?
Oh.
not decision
If
making.
we do, yeah, then we would do the decisions. Whatever before that, like ideally, right, like if. And if, let's just say that we focus on doing. I think what would work is focus on doing the council meeting and the second meeting. Every second meeting in the city council. That's when you do it, so then you can meet as a commission.
Okay, so are you gonna have time if we meet in March and vote on that house in March? Are you gonna have time to present at the city council, one of the city councils in March?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's all I'm wondering. That's
What
perfect.
about, and so now, the quarterly, since there's 2 commissioners left with nothing to do, or.
Read for yourself.
Then they would start the next,
Well, what about if they do quarter, I mean,
they can do the business before.
and we'll have it semi-annual. So every 6 months, so Joan will do,
Or. Business of the year, or. Yeah, no, that's what you're saying. And then the other 2 for now, and then you can revisit that structure. The next year.
so all commissioners will have something to do, Shannon. Just
And
kidding.
then you do the business. You present the business in. We're gonna say July.
Oh, I have here on there, Dennis is doing the first quarter for business of the month. Shanda's
That's
doing the second
changing. I have
quarter.
that too, but that's changing.
Oh, When did we
So-
decide that? Just now?
Just now.
I'm not, it's not.
Just want to make sure I'm following.
Just a thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because July would be 6 months. And then you could do it in December too, so you, the meeting in December, you have. Business of the year, final business of the year, and final last business of the quarter.
In general-
Quarter business of the half year.
Okay, so business the half year would be during the second quarter in June and July. But the house would, we already had said that the house Ramona would be in June.
June, yes.
But then the business would be in July. Okay,
I mean, and then in theory, you could do the other business in January,
Yeah.
and then
Because,
that means you're doing something in, almost every month.
and they're in the J's too, so it's easy to remember, July and January.
And then really, then you kind of get on the schedule, right? Like,
So who has the first, who are we gonna assign then? This isn't on our agenda, so we should probably have it agenda, or is it? What do,
well, the agenda was the
the item
that's good.
review the area assignment for house of the month.
was, yeah, review for the house of the month, but not for business of the business, so we should probably agendize that, yeah, in March. So we can go over it. So let me just make sure I
We
understand.
could just have business of the year,
I like that.
No.
no?
Celebrate our business tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. And there's 6 of us and so we can't have another commissioner. We haven't had-
How does it work out perfectly? We have one person, 2 people.
Businesses and 4 people doing hourly houses.
Gotcha. Gotcha, but it's always gonna be the same people because, okay, switch, okay, good. Okay, fine, okay.
Does that work?
Yeah, because we don't necessarily have to do, maybe even if we don't, okay, that's fine. So, all right, so just so I'm clear, make sure that we're all clear. We're going to, could you repeat what you said, Dan? We said, Q1 is March, that's gonna be me, right? That's what I'm presenting. Q2, Ramona's gonna be presenting in June,
Yes.
and we're talking about presenting to the city council.
City council.
So
Okay,
The second meeting, the city council, and then it'll be an agendized item for this mission, the first, in your meeting that month.
got it. Yeah,
I mean.
Well, we could be behind, right? I mean, when council meeting doesn't have to be that quarter, it can be.
Could be,
a quarter
it just
behind.
really, it would just depend on whether or not how long it takes to get the class, right?
That's true. That's true.
We should change it to magic hours.
No, I know someone that has it hanging up in there.
Yeah, my neighbor does. That is it.
okay,
So did we finish for the minutes? Finish all 4 of them?
yeah, you have,
Quarter 1 and 2, correct? Yes.
yeah,
And then Q3 is September, and that's ready.
yep. And Q4 is Dennis, and that's in December. And then Q21 in 2026,
No, this has changed.
oh,
Forget this, we
Oh.
are doing businesses, and we'll decide that.
oh, so then that means that starting out for February, March, we'll do these neighborhoods. Got it, okay, yeah, that sounds great. At least until we get another commissioner.
Don't worry about it, but. My voice.
Okay, all right, so, we don't need to vote on anything. We've got it's a review of assignments. Do I need to open it up to public comment? Okay, public comment is now open.
We don't have anybody online.
Okay, public comment is closed. Now, review of brick and mortar project requirements. Who put that on the agenda?
You know, I think I may have, this was a concern of mine, so I may have asked it for it to be on the agenda. You know, my concern came from a discussion, a heated discussion that we had with our projects for the year. And it was that, you know, not all the commissions presented to us because they didn't really know about the funds that we're stewards of. And the reason, I think, was because they felt that their commission doesn't really lead into brick and mortar type projects. And the question was, is that what the meaning of a improved neighborhood is? And, you know, some of us think that not necessarily. An improved neighborhood could be many things. It doesn't have to be something that's built. And so, you know, I think I just it was me. I just wanted to go over that. What is, you know, what is our purview? Our projects, do they have to come from other commissions whose presentations actually build something or creates a service, right? But I know that there are some people on the council who want to see you know, a brick and mortar type thing. So that's where it all came in. And I'm glad the city attorney's here. So, so that was the gist of it, I think. So we'll go from there.
Well, in response to that, my first thought is that, you know, the brick and mortar is, you know, you have evidence. You know, the residents of our city can see what Nickens doing and what the city council is doing. There's that evidence. We see, you know, the benches, we see the banners, we see the, you know, the lights on the median. I mean, those are things that people can get behind. The other things that are services, people don't always necessarily see those. They may, you know, maybe one or two people may experience those, but I don't think we should put parameters. I think it should be people coming up with solutions that they think are important to them and may very well be important to other people in the city. And they may or may not be brick and mortar. Maybe the city council prefers brick and mortar, but we don't know until they actually hear an idea. And then they hear this idea from somebody and think, wow, I could get behind that. You know, that's a great service, or that's a great, you know, whatever. So that's my way of thinking. How about anybody else?
I have a lot to say on the subject, but I'm just going to say a couple of things. And that is that I think our neighborhood can be improved by things that we don't see every day, but by feeling safer in your neighborhood watch, about having yards cleaned up, which actually the project, the Mills project name, a Mills project. Anyway, they are taking that on. 5 to 5? No, they're taking on cleaning up elderly people's yards for them.
The
Village Project.
The garden.
Yeah, the Village Project is taking on helping people
Yeah,
with
I
their
think that's great.
yards, like, you know, it suggested doing.
So it's a volunteer thing.
All right, yeah, as a volunteer level, but boy, I would still like to see us involved in those. So I'm gonna keep suggesting those if, you know, when we have our meetings on that. Whether they're brick and mortar or whether certain council members approve, but that's my take on it.
Shanda, do you have anything to add? Thank you, Joan.
I've been on this commission for 6 years. You guys have been on it longer, but
Oh.
I just know that some of some of the things that they want to see us promote is something that can be physically touched, felt, admired, that we have done to promote the beauty and aesthetics of Seaside. My fear is if we keep being, I know what you're saying, Joan. I appreciate it. But if it keeps getting the way that if our projects that we've been talking about keep getting turned down, the city will take away. And it's gonna be that way. And our biggest cheerleader will not be our biggest cheerleader anymore.
I just keep going back to the neighborhood watch because that is on
Well,
our.
this is true.
This is something we're supposed to be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, I
So,
understand that.
okay.
That is a big plus.
And I think if it's explained a little bit more clearly,
Mhm, mhm.
that one is something.
That's a big plus.
But we don't have to decide on those now. It's just my feeling about the two, about brick and mortar versus the things that we are actually commissioned to do.
Right, neighborhood watch is in our purview.
Absolutely,
That is
it's-
no brainer.
And
Yeah.
it's basically, it's you bringing up, maybe the idea is, it's not the idea, maybe it's the presentation.
And that's
You
part
know,
of the problem.
I mean, we have to, when we're presenting our ideas, we have to be persuasive. And, because we're trying to convince the city council who is, they're holding the taxpayers' funds. They're deciding, and they have to do what's right for the whole city. And when we sell it to them, and then we do an excellent job selling it to them, then they're able to sell it to the community. So we need to step up on our presentation maybe, and
Well, yeah, we didn't, I get to do that, but maybe we can help.
Um, Not to negate the neighborhood watch, but what monies does it take from this 400,000 that we're getting? What monies does it need?
well, she wanted.
I know we have that in our part of our,
Less, maybe, that's what we'll talk about,
Yeah.
but just to
But what if-
eliminate all those ideas. Maybe we should, convince them less money, whatever.
Right, we could do a pilot.
So through the chair. So here's where this came from. I had a conversation with a council member who was fairly adamant that the touching of brick and mortar was there, but because of that then worked at cross purposes of it, but it also was adamant that all councils, all commissions had an opportunity to present what they could do for the city under our 400,000, but they worked at cross purposes because not all of them are going to come and present to us or to the councils something that you can touch, the brick and mortar. So that's what I want to get to the bottom of that. Basically, that's why I asked for this to be on this agenda because basically it seems to work at cross purposes, and I wanted to see what it for me it created a larger question. What is the purview of the Neighborhood Improvement Commission? And my belief is not just something that we can actually create, something that can be touched, the brick and mortar. It's a service that we can help provide.
Right.
Which then all commissions might feel they have a bigger part of.
Ramona, did you have anything else to add?
no, I see Dennis's point, but again.
Well, this is what I was thinking. I think that I think what I hear from the city, from our commission is that we're all very afraid that we have to fall in line with the city council or we're gonna get our funds taken away. Some of us have expressed that, but I think we are citizens. We are residents of Seaside. We know what we want to see with our city. And I think that when we're vetting these ideas that are coming to us, we represent our community. And so if we think that these are great ideas that are coming from these other commissions or coming from within our own commission, then, it's up to us to convey that to the city council. If they choose not to do it, then we table it and we do it the next year. And we just change it up, whatever. But I think that it should, I think it's, we should listen to what some of our members of our city council share with us when they give us guidance or advice or whatever. But I think in the end, we should listen to our own gut and our own feelings because we are residents here and we know exactly what we want to see in our community. And if the city council doesn't agree with it, so be it. We'll do it next year. You know? And that's what I think. And I mean, I understand what he's saying. So if we want to present brick and mortar ideas, fine. If we want to present services, fine. As long as we are doing a convincing job to get that message, you know, selling it to the city council. Right. Well, we're voting on it. We're voting on it. So if we vote on it and it passes, then we should all be getting behind it. Because that is part of our democracy, is that we vote, the majority wins, and then we support that decision. So that's where I am on that. So frankly, I think that whether it's brick and mortar or it's services, whatever, I'm, you know, it's all up to the commission. The commission will vote, and then that will be the decision. And we will, if it doesn't go, we will have no hard feelings, but we'll present next year. We'll try to get it going next year. And then the year after that, until we get tired of presenting, whatever. So do we have anything else to cover on that?
So I just want to be clear. So then what I'm hearing and what I guess what I wanted to say is that we may be going against what the council wants. And we'll just, but that's where we stand, and we may have to live with the consequences.
That's right. And what I said was, Dennis, is that we shouldn't worry about what the council, what I was saying is we're all members of this community. If we think it's important enough and we vote on it as a commission and it wins as an idea to present, then it's up to us to support that decision and sell it to city council. And if city council doesn't agree, doesn't see our vision, well, then we'll table it and we'll do it next year. And we'll vote on it next year. But I agree with you. I think it's just whatever comes our way, we shouldn't focus on brick and mortar, and we shouldn't necessarily focus on city council, what they want, because they haven't heard every idea. They may hear something, they may say we only want brick and mortar, but then something comes along that's fabulous and we do a great job of selling it, or maybe even whoever's idea it was does a great job selling it. And then they're like, boom, we're going to do it. And then they vote on it and they do it. Right. So does anybody else have anything else to add? No. Okay. I'm opening up to public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We don't have anybody online.
Nobody in here. So I'm closing public comment. Okay, moving on to reports from commissioners. We'll start with Shanda. Joan.
Two things. One I forgot to bring, which is a beautiful thank you card from FOSPA. I'll bring it to the retreat. Everyone signed the card for us, thanking us for our input and for the approval of the projects.
Wonderful.
And the other thing I wanted to say, and I will bring this to city council at some point. I just love Old Merson. We have a closing time there on the third Tuesday, and there's so much going on there, and people stop in, see your clothing, your sewing, and I think lessons, so all the people come by, and it's a happening place with a wonderful staff. Only thing I want is new tables, but you know the ones I mean. I think it's in the budget. I think it's happening. No, one of the guys told me that. So, but I'll bring it up again. Maybe here. But yeah, it's wonderful. I just love it.
Joe, that's a great idea. Maybe you present that as a project. Okay, awesome. Dennis?
Yes, real quick. On Thursday at the Monterey, used to be the DoubleTree, what's it called? The Monterey Plaza Hotel. There is a presentation from the Monterey, former Monterey chief, I think, is doing, or the Monterey Fire Department. Basically, it's about what risks do we face in this area from wildfire? It's this coming Thursday, so, right, so, I'm gonna try, yeah, my plan is to go to it, but what risks do we face and how we can prepare ourselves better? I think a lot of, areas in California are going through such presentation type, at this time. Anybody who can get there to find out, what risks we face, how we can make ourselves safer, your individual house safer, do so. I'd like to actually try to bring some sort of presentation here to Seaside, whether it be the Monterey Fire Department or even our own, but just, kind of start that communication going. And, the smoke alarm installation will be probably April, May-ish. We normally in Seaside have it in January, but because there was a community in Santa Cruz that had to get done pretty quickly, I spoke with the chief at the Red Cross, and we're looking at Seaside, sometime later this spring. So I'll let you know, because we did vote that to become part of one of our projects. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you tell me what time it's Thursday?
I believe it starts at 4:50. Right. It's a little bit later it's several hours, but apparently it's going to be really very informational. Pardon me? Did I say I thought it said 5:30. But I may be wrong. You know what? Okay. Sure.
Okay, and Ramona,
Nothing at this time.
nothing at that time, okay. Yeah, no, I don't have anything either. Other than I'm gonna be retiring. A forced retirement, not forced.
You're taking that coerced.
Right, yeah, coerced. So,
You didn't
We-
write down your accomplishments?
so we received, well, my anniversary day, I started 40 years ago, February 10th, 1985.
Congratulations.
Is when I started with federal service. And so we got an email from OPM, HR OPM, it was called the Fork in the Road.
Yes.
And they asked us, and I sent back a response saying I wanted to resign and retire. And frankly, I'm glad I did, because it's a very toxic environment for government employees, who have given their, I've given majority of my life to government service. It's very upsetting because I have taken a lot of pride in my, in my service to my country and my community. And to be sloughed off like this is, I think, so disrespectful, and then call us criminals and corrupt. I think it's just so terrible. But anyway, so if all goes as planned, my last day will be this Thursday. Yes, and then I will be on admin leave for the rest of the year, with my retirement being effective the 31st of December. So I will have time to do more, and I want to do more. I was even looking at part-time positions with the city, but I don't know if I'll jump into that right away, because
Lifeguards available.
I saw that, but I don't have lifeguard experience.
Oh.
I mean, I took junior life saving when I was a kid, but I don't remember that. That's been so long ago, I probably would hurt somebody. But that's all I have to say, is that I will be retiring, and then like I said, will look forward to giving more time to the city in whatever way I can, because now I won't have a Monday through Friday job that's interfering. Anyway, moving on, do we have any reports from staff?
No, not necessarily. I don't know if this commission where I was appointed as a trustee manager.
Yes, I did see that.
So taking on a whole nother level there, and our new city manager is starting on March 17th. And then I will go down to assistant city manager. So working on the new CM. So looking forward to it. But I'm not letting that, take me away from right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
That one, when they did you return.
We're not going there. Can I go back
Still
and
3 weeks to
mention
fire
something
people.
on the reports from commissioners? Can I go back right quick? I just wanted to say that I did attend Dave Pacheco's. I saw Dan there and Sherry. Oh, and Joan and Ramona were there. But one thing I wanted to say that was so impressive, and I would like to share that with everybody, was the report from Chief Borges. He said, if you guys recall, that we had no murders in 2024, that our crime is down 51%
Yeah,
over 3 years, and that he only has 3 vacancies on our staff, and our staff is more, our police is more staffed than any other police force on the peninsula. And that he has 9 applications for those three positions open, so he's hoping that those will be filled soon.
So they're just swearing it in, so like, they're.
So I thought that was really good, and then Dave did say some things about the roads that are gonna be done, more roads are gonna be done. And yes, he introduced them, right? That was him, yeah. I knew I recognized him, but I didn't remember. We should have introduced him. We should have stopped for a second and introduced him to everybody. Shoot. Yeah, so that was a really good meeting, and I urge others to go if they can, because you really do learn a lot. I know I don't always get to go, but I hope to start going. I know you were. I saw you. Yes. Well, there was no power, so they
Yes.
really had to,
Power to pizza.
right, that was a bummer, because I was looking forward to the pizza. So, okay, so, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, and then I just want to remind everybody of the next meeting on March 4th at 5 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.
No problem.
Yes, thank you, Dan, Jennifer.
Yeah, please.